Welcome to part 4 of the 12C R1 Linux Rack Installation Cookbook video, ASM Disk Group Creation. We're going to go ahead and use ASMCA to create our ASM disk groups. In order to do so, we need to log in as the grid infrastructure user and open a VNC session, which we have already done. So you can see we're logged in as the user grid. We're going to go ahead and use a script to set our environment. I'll give you a quick peek at the script. That's all there is to it. So once we've set the environment, we'll go ahead and launch ASMCA. And again, we've already done the prereq steps at the OS level to configure ASM lib. Our disks are all presented, they're already stamped. So all we need to do is actually grab those disks and create some disk groups. Okay, so we're going to be creating 2 additional disk groups. You can see our OCR and vote disk group was created as part of the clusterware install. It is mounted on 3 of 4 nodes of our cluster. That's because we're using FlexASM. So only 3 instances will be up in a FlexASM configuration. So our 2 additional disk groups that we're going to create are DB data and DB flash. DB data will be used for the database data files. DB flash will be used for the recovery files. Online redo logs will be mirrored across the 2 disk groups, and these disk groups will be using external redundancy since our underlying disk configuration is RAID 10 on a high-end SAN. It is best practice to have no more than 2 disk groups. Exceptions are made when different redundancy levels are required, so we want 3 voting disks, so our OCR vote disk group is a normal redundancy disk group with 3 fail groups. That's a good example. Other configurations that may justify more than 2 disk groups are multi-tiered storage configurations. I would suggest that you review my Oracle Support Note 810394.1 for additional details on ASM best practices. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our disk group. The first one that we want to create is DB data. And we're going to use external redundancy, as I mentioned earlier, and we're going to choose 4 disks here. It is a general ASM best practice to have a minimum of 4 disks per disk group to ensure that the stripe at the database data file level, ASM stripes at the database data file level, is effective. If we want to click Advanced Options, we can see that our ASM compatibility is 12.1. Database compatibility will be set to the default as well as ADVM compatibility. The default AU size is 1 meg. For large database configurations, we would suggest increasing that to 4 meg. But for this implementation, we're going to accept the defaults. We're going to click OK. It'll go ahead and create our disk group DB data and mount that disk group on the running ASM instances. Disk group created successfully. Go ahead and create our second disk group, which is DB flash. And one tip here, if you are not seeing your disks listed and you're using ASM lib, there may be an ASM lib configuration problem, an installation problem. Consult my Oracle support for that. If you're not using ASM lib, you can change the disk discovery path here, and we can actually put in our discovery path to find the disks. So for DB flash, we are choosing external redundancy again because we're on a high-end RAID configuration, and we want 4 disks for that disk group. Advanced options, we looked at those before, but they're going to be the same. Our AU size, we're leaving at the default of 1. You may want to increase it for a large database configuration. Database compatibility and ADVM compatibility are left to the defaults, so we'll go ahead and click OK. Create the DB flash disk group. Okay, so that's our disk groups are created. One additional best practice that I didn't mention when I was creating those disk groups is the fact that each of those disks in a given disk group needs to be the same performance and size. So they need to carry the same performance characteristics and the exact same size to ensure consistent performance. If you're looking for additional information on the AU sizing, consult the Automatic Storage Management Administrator's Guide 12CR1. And that's it for our ASMCA configuration. Now that we have created our ASM disk groups to house our database data, we can now go ahead and create our rack database.